Now, you decided to do it again at 40, I believe. And I watched a video last night of your partner where she announced that she was leaving you as
Oh
a
yeah.
result of this experience that you went through. And I also understood that, your children were like, look, Dad, never again are you going to do this. So when you went into it the second time, were you aware of the impact that that was likely to have on the people around you, or was this something that you kind of figured out as you sort of got into it?
That's a really good question. I was worried about it going into it. I actually had my girlfriend at the time. Yes, we broke up, but I had her talk to my ex-wife because I figured my ex-wife could tell her like, "Hey, Drew's going to change a little bit. Here's how he's going to change, not just physically, but emotionally. Like when your hormones are out of whack, like you're not the same person. When you're not sleeping well because you're sleep deprived because of the type of food you eat and the lack of exercise and the unhealthy lifestyle you live, people don't realize how that type of lifestyle, unhealthy lifestyle, affects you at the core level, on a cellular level, your hormones, your personality. When you have low testosterone, yes, you're going to become more emotional, and your ability to handle stress is severely diminished. And that's what I was trying to wake people up to. Like, here I am actually going through it, went through a breakup during the middle of this journey, which it didn't really have anything to do with me gaining the weight, to be honest with you. I probably was more reactive, less patient with, in the relationship, with my daughters and things like that. Yeah, and that you're grumpier, when you're not sleeping well through the night. It affects you more than you think. And so my hope is that even though I went through some hell, some personal hell during the second journey, which I did not expect to happen, I was not prepared for. I didn't think it would get that far or things would become that bad. But I wanted to show people that, hey, eating unhealthy food just doesn't make you gain fat. If that's all it did, like that actually wouldn't be that bad. But it affects your ability to handle stress and the way you show up in your relationship, it changes. And so you want to be a better husband, you want to be a better dad, you want to be a better employee or business owner. Take care of your physical health first and foremost, because when things are aligned and your hormones are balanced and you're sleeping well through the night and you're able to be more present with those that you love, you're a better version of yourself. You really are. And so, yeah, it was really difficult. And my daughters didn't like it because, yeah, I was grumpier, I was moodier, and it does affect you. I'm not saying I was like this mean person or anything like that, but I just, it definitely took its toll on me to a certain extent. And my daughters didn't like it. And like I said, the thing between me and my ex-girlfriend really had nothing to do with the journey necessarily. It was just more personal issues between us that we couldn't overcome even before this journey, even before I did Fit2Fat2Fit the second time. There was stuff that we couldn't overcome. So
Did that? I suppose, and I guess you've got to call it a mindset. But were there things as you went through that and you were dealing with, being a father and a partner to someone? Do you think that had you been, your best self, do you think that maybe some of those decisions that you made, and I'm not saying it would have changed what happened to your relationship, but just in general, the way that you dealt with things in your life during that period, do you feel as if you were in your best self, you may have made different decisions or reacted differently to some of the things that were thrown at you as you were living your life as probably your best self, or you're not as best self, if that
that's a
makes
good
sense?
question. Yeah, probably, possibly, I would say yes. I mean, I would like to think so, but I don't really know because I still, even like I said, even before this journey, there were still issues that we had that we couldn't really overcome. We kind of put band-aids on it for the time being, but yeah, I would like to think that I would have handled certain things a little bit differently, during the journey, but everything happens for a reason, like they say, and I can't go back and change anything now. And so all I can do is look at it and see, okay, why did this happen for me? Not why did this happen to me? What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? And I've done a lot of internal work, working with my therapist, and diving deep into, okay, what can I do better? Like, how can I grow from this experience? So that's kind of how I look at that whole journey now.
Yeah, maybe a different way to put the question, I guess, for people that may be listening that are probably not yet the best person, the best example of themselves is: were there things that you found out about yourself in terms of who you was as a person as a consequence of being unfit and healthy? Like, one of the things I heard you talk about is you had some depression, you were grumpy, your motivation wasn't there. So, and I suppose though the consequences of being in a slightly depressed state, being unhappy, lack of motivation, if you take that to the nth degree, it can put a totally different course on your life. So I suppose are there any things that are more, I've got to sort of be careful how I say this, but that sort of unhealthiness, does that sort of impact your life in ways that are probably not good for you in your experience, who's done this twice?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say absolutely. And your ability, like I said, to handle stress is severely diminished when your physical health is taking a toll. Like, you're not in the healthiest place. And this is kind of what I was trying to, show people. Even for me, someone that is super self-aware, that I would say is pretty emotionally intelligent, that I know, like, I'm aware of my emotions and I'm aware when I'm being grumpy or moody. And even still with the awareness, it's a powerful thing to, when you're physically unhealthy and your hormones are out of whack and you're sleep deprived, that to me was more powerful than my ability to be self-aware, because I'm not this monk. I'm not like this enlightened person that can just like not feel any negativity and deal with emotions. Even for me, that was super self-aware, I struggled to be present and I struggled to not react instead of thoughtfully respond. And yeah, I was not my best self in those moments. And if there's one thing to be taken away from it, for me and for everyone else listening, is like, if you want to be the best version of yourself, you have to take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Because if you're lacking in one of those areas, it will show up in one way or another in your relationships with your kids, with your spouse, with your business, with whoever. It does affect all your relationships more than you think. And so that's kind of what I would say to that, is like, it's powerful stuff. It's more powerful than you think.
So in terms of motivation then, obviously if someone's embarking on a journey to improve their physical body, lose weight, then one of the things that we all talk about is we've got to do exercise. And I've been involved even in situations. It's like, well, look, just get up, go, put your running shoes on, go and have a walk or a run, get your ass to the gym. What are you complaining about? Now, I've obviously never been able to understand, and I know you use this word empathy a lot, but I would like to be able to understand, is it a case of, you're just lazy and you're not doing the work, or are you, when you are carrying that amount of weight and you're probably eating crap, does the level of your motivation to be able to do basic things change in any way? And again, someone who's sort of been on both of those sides, at least a couple of times, what happens on that motivation piece?
Yeah, I think it can be a little bit of both, to be honest with you. It can be us choosing the easier path. I think the hard part, Matt, is that we've built this life of comfort, especially in these first world countries, like the US, for example. Everything is designed for our ultimate comfort. And to break free from that, like to go exercise and to meal prep and eat healthy food versus unhealthy food, which tastes way better. It's cheaper, more affordable, it's more convenient. It's easier to Netflix and chill than it is to go to the gym and sweat and have your muscles burning and go through all of that. It's really, people choose the path of least resistance. People choose the easier path. And I think it also has to do with the emotional side of maybe not feeling worthy or not feeling that they're capable or they deserve to feel healthy. It could be a self-sabotage thing like we talked about. It could be trauma response from who knows what as a kid, where people, gravitate towards food at a young age to make them feel in control or make them feel safe. And decades of that programming is really hard to break free from. So this is why, for me, I talk a lot about empathy and having empathy for other people that struggle, because I believe that no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So as a trainer, as a coach, as a nutritionist, as whatever, as a doctor, like, if you can't connect with someone on a deeper emotional level and you have all the knowledge in the world of how to fix them, it's going to be a tough time for them to listen to you or believe you if they don't feel like you truly care about them. And this is where empathy comes into play. And that's why I'm a big fan of Brene Brown's work. Listening to understand someone and truly understand from a place of curiosity lets that person feel safe to be vulnerable and open up and talk about the things that really they are struggling with. And maybe that's what they need, is someone that's willing to listen, to understand them before they're, open to trying to do the hard things like exercise, get to the gym or go for a run or do those things. And I think that empathy could be a huge catalyst for change, not just in the fitness industry, but in the world. But yeah, I think it's a combination of so many things. It's this life of comfort that we've created for ourselves, which is kind of like a catch-22. It's like, it's awesome to have air conditioning and soft clothes and a soft bed and warm shower. Like, that's awesome. But at the same time, to get people to do hard things is really, really difficult now, because people, might just choose the easier path and might be lazy because of that. And so that's where it's really hard. You can't just look at someone who's overweight and say, why can't you just do these things? Like, just stop being lazy, because we don't really know the psychology behind what the experiences that have affected that person to be where they are today. But I do feel like if we start with empathy, like we've tried everything else, we've tried every diet out there, we've tried shaming people, like making people feel less than, and that doesn't work. So maybe there's a different approach. And I think empathy is something that we haven't really put a lot of effort or time into to see if that can work. And I really do feel like it can, because people feel like, okay, this person cares about me. They make me believe that I'm worthy to feel this change and to have, a healthy life. And then if this person believes in me, maybe I really do deserve it. But the hard part, I think, a lot of it has to do with self-worth and self-sabotage, and more so on the mental and emotional side, the stuff that we talked about in this podcast that keeps people from living that healthy lifestyle or doing the hard things. But in combination with that, it's also the access to all the comfort food and the comforts of life. Then it's even multiplied even more, where it's like even more of an uphill battle for people that struggle. But, you and I know people that have just radically transformed their life. They've just showed up one day, like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I'm going to change my life. And that's truly a miracle, I believe, for a lot of people. I would say 90% of the population doesn't have that willpower, the discipline. So that's why I'm willing to try something like empathy to see if that can make a big change. And I'm hoping that it will.